Tell me about what you were telling me about. People calling, they want to know about hearing aids and tinnitus. Is it just for tinnitus? Is the only... You're just slapping hearing aids at people with tinnitus?
Right. So not everyone with tinnitus can benefit from amplification. So each person, we have to take a unique approach to figure out what's the best way to deliver sound therapy back to their brain. Not all sound therapy is going to look the same, although most people today want a wireless device, and all of our wireless sound therapy can look like a hearing aid. So that's where the confusion lies. We're not just putting amplification on all people because not all people have significant hearing loss associated with their tinnitus.
So is it actually a different device, or is a hearing aid, it just isn't being used for amplification?
Right, so all of our sound therapy tools today currently come from hearing aid manufacturers, so that's why they look identical to a hearing aid in most cases. Occasionally we might use something that looks totally different, more like an MP3 player with earbuds, but so many people don't want that corded option because we're so active, and that's why the wireless option is much more popular.
This catch light's bugging me.
The catch light?
Yeah, because it's in the left eye, but not the right.
Oh, yeah. No,
way.
that looks good now.
Yeah, okay. All right. So, but I want to understand this more.
Yeah.
So, are they hearing aids?
So a sound therapy device, the combination instruments that we are using for tinnitus therapy, can be used as amplification with the microphones and amplifier turned on, or as non-hearing aids with the microphones and amplifier turned off. So it just depends on how we set them up, and it's case by case determined.
Okay. And this just all is coming back to people's stigma with hearing aids.
Yes, exactly.
Tell me more about that. What is this about?
So a lot of people have a hard time with the concept of putting anything over or on top of their ear because they associate that with a hearing aid that maybe their grandfather wore or somebody who they see as much older than them. And so what's hard sometimes is for people to realize, A, nobody's going to notice you have these things on because they're so small, and B, that it can make such a huge difference in your quality of life. Who cares anyway what it looks like? So that's kind of the struggle sometimes we deal with.
Isn't that funny? So it's the fact that it goes up over the ear and it sits behind. Like, what if it was just like something that was sitting like in a Bluetooth headset?
Right. So if something were sitting just in the ear, people think that that's better somehow. But the problem is if you plug an ear, especially for someone with tinnitus, their tinnitus can get louder because now you're keeping all of that sound in and you're not allowing natural airflow around the sound therapy device. So all the units we use today keep the ear partially open so that we don't run the risk of increasing the problem, which is the tinnitus in the first place.
And the technology has to sit somewhere.
Technology has to sit somewhere, so it sits on a tiny little processor on the top of the ear.
Can you show us?
Yes. So this is an example of how small it can be. So when you're wearing, this is exactly what I wear for my tinnitus, and when I'm wearing it, I don't feel it. It weighs less than an ounce. You don't see it. It disappears. And the wire here is what's delivering the sound therapy into my ear. We customize the sound therapy with programming it using the computer after we figure out the tinnitus pitch and loudness match in the diagnostic testing. All that information is then imported into this tiny little chip on the back of my ear. And by leaving that ear canal open, I hear naturally, normally. I don't feel this. I barely even know it's there. And then the sound therapy is just gentle, playing in the background, very low level, calming, soothing. So I can go about my day and I don't even half the time recognize I'm wearing it.
And it looks nothing like those old beige, clunky...
Right, the big old technology that filled the ear, was heavy. We called it the occlusion effect because it would make you feel plugged up, like you were talking through a microphone all the time. You were getting reverberation and echo when you block the ear canal, just like when you put earplugs in. You know, you put those foamy earplugs in and you feel like, am I shouting? I can't regulate my volume. This is nothing like that, but that's what a lot of people think they're gonna have to experience, and they think, well, that's worse than what I'm dealing with my tinnitus, so it discourages them to even come in and see what we have to offer.
This is such a mind game.
It is. There's so much psychology involved in dealing with tinnitus and trying to just overcome some of these objections that are no longer valid, but until we can be face to face with someone and show them, no, this is what we're talking about, there's a lot of confusion, I think, out there.
Yeah. And what's the harm in coming and just talking?
Right. We can't help someone who doesn't want our help, so we'd rather just get people the right information so they know if maybe I don't want to do this now, but if my situation gets worse, at least I know what I can do for myself in the future.
Yeah, and experience this, but when it's not.
Yeah, a lot of people, when we put the sound therapy in both ears and they listen to it for a few minutes, they realize right away what a big difference it can make for them. It's calming, it's soothing. We've seen people cry just from putting them in because they get some immediate benefit, some immediate relief and distraction away from their tinnitus. And so, that's why it's so important to test it out and see, can you benefit? Like we always say, 80% of people can, so why not see if you're part of that number that can actually benefit. Yeah.
Awesome. That's good. I was going to ask you, so I started sleeping with those foamy earplugs because I really like it. Is that bad?
It's sleeping with foamy earplugs isn't bad as long as you don't have tinnitus. If you have tinnitus, it tends to amplify the problem by plugging your ears. So
I'm wondering if I was pushing earwax in or something.
A lot of people do accidentally push earwax in with a foam earplug, but usually you start to realize it because when you take it out, you see some on it and you go, I probably have some wax in my ear.
I've never done that before, and I was like, oh my God, this is a beautiful way to sleep.
Yeah. So quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you can sleep with earplugs in and are a light sleeper,
you ever try that?
I can help.
No, my wife does.
You should take one of those. It's really nice.
I can't stand anything in my ear.
I hear
that long.
But I
hear myself breathe.
Right, it internalizes everything.
I hear what could eventually be some tinnitus, though.
Yeah.
Like I hear the sound of my brain.
Exactly. Your nervous system. Yeah, your brain.
It doesn't. It's not irritating. It's not loud.
Right.
It's,
Right.
But I'm like, okay, I can imagine what that must be like if it was like 10 times louder.
Right. Or insert into there like a 4K notch.
Yeah.
Not fun.
Are there any other questions that you're getting from people right now? Well, tell me about what's new since we last talked in this way.
Oh, that's right. So some new advancements in research for tinnitus really are kind of looking at transcranial magnetic stimulation to try to rewire the brain externally with transcranial magnets. It's working for depression, so it's been FDA approved to help people that suffer from depression, but there really hasn't been enough clinical trials with tinnitus. There's definitely some potential risks there with side effects of possible memory loss, which would not be good. So we're not really applying that yet to tinnitus. It'll be interesting to see if they can prove benefit without harm there. A lot of interesting research is also going into stem cell. Stem cells inserted or somehow put into the inner ear to restore the cochlear hair cells that have been damaged in the first place. Most people say if we had an influx of money into this research, it could be something that we'd see in the next 5 years develop, but most people are thinking it's probably going to be 10 to 20 years before stem cells are actually a viable option for us. But that would be the cure. That would be the best thing ever, because with sound therapy, you could see these hair cells regenerate, and then we'd be able to say, okay, 12 months later, you are cured of this problem. So that would be a great day. I hope I see it in my career, in my lifetime.
Awesome.
What else?
Real quick before we change subjects. Yes, thank you. So I just have keep rolling, but offline question.
Yeah.
What if that came out? Would your practice close?
No, because you can't
would you
just
be the one to do it?
Yeah. So hopefully we would be the ones to help with the stem cell placement. If we couldn't be the ones to put it through, because we're talking possibly through the eardrum and into the inner ear, you'd still need sound stimulation, much like you do with a cochlear implant, to be able to revive those hair cells. So an ENT might do the stem cell infusion, depends on how many years out we're talking, because audiology, we are trying to get more into some medical management areas of tinnitus and hearing in general, but you still need to deliver sound to revive and revitalize those hair cells to get them to come alive again.